Join us at Women of Courage and celebrate the achievements of women. Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in. This is Gloria Lee, the moderator for the show Women of Courage. Wherever you are in the world, I need you to know one thing right now. You are amazing. I know you might be upset. I know you might be hurting. And I know you might be frustrated. I know because all of these things happened to me. I was homeless for 2 years, and all I had was a computer, my son, and a car. I want you to know you still have a purpose in life, and it is my job to help you believe that again. Do you want to believe? Can you see that the divorce was not meant to take you out? Can you believe that the lost house and the lost job is a setup for something greater? By the end of this broadcast, you'll be injected with so much that you cannot help but believe again. And I am going to help you do just that. Are you ready? I got some things I want to share with you. And I will even make suggestions on books and activities that you can implement, which will ultimately bring healing and wholeness to you. If you are ready to be healed, if you're ready to be whole, just jot down the pointers I give and watch your life transform. No matter what happened, no matter whose fault it was, today is a new day, and your time to live and be free is now. Join me in this journey to wholeness. Your time for total healing is now. Today you shall recover. Wholeness, healness, and peacefulness is in the mind. That is where all battles for life end and begin. I know when we started off, we were talking about sex trafficking and the abduction of women and children being sold as sex slaves. Now we are talking about reading, self-esteem, and self-image. There is a connection. I am building a foundation. It will become clear in about 2 more broadcasts. You must realize the sex trade is profitable. So those people that are participating in this industry will fight to keep the money flowing. So if we want to win, we must also be prepared to fight. You can't fight if you do not know how. When a soldier goes into battle, he knows what is required of him. Last week, we spoke about self-esteem, self-image, and reading. We are again going to discuss these subjects with respect to the word change. Change is the central behavior. If you want a better life, then change is required. If you want to learn more, then read. When you start to read, this is a form of change. If you want a bigger house, you have to save your money to make a larger down payment on a house. Saving more is a change. If you want to date men with better character, then you have to seek these men where they can be found. This is change. You will stop going to bars, taverns, or dance halls looking for a man you think will make a good husband. If you want to raise the work, you go back to school and get a second degree. This is change. So anytime you want something different than what you have, you must change. You want a better life? That will require change. You want a better car? That will require change. Wanting something different automatically means change. Life is filled with changes. All desired results require change. The problem with change is, on many occasions, the required behavior is different. Consequently, change is going to require an adjustment in behavior. Now consider this. Change is a form of standing up. Magazine says blondes have more fun, you dye your hair blonde. but you will not change for the women in this country. When you are told there is a hip nightclub in town, you flock there in droves, but you will not change for the women of this country. When you're told you look younger with a particular hairstyle, you spend hundreds of dollars at the beauty salon, but you will not change for the women of this country. When your girlfriend tells you St. Stephen's is a church filled with bachelors, you go to church every Sunday and twice during the week, but you will not change for the women of this country. When the television ads tell you good times are happening in Florida, you book passage on the first flight out, but you will not change for the women of this country. When the magazine covers tells you within their pages there are 10 secrets to sexual success, you purchase every copy, but you will not change for the women of this country. When your friends tell you that you look marvelous in the color teal, you spend your entire paycheck on blue sweaters, but you will not change for the women of this country. When you learn the heaviest band is coming to town, you hang out at the park until the gates open, but you will not change for the women of this country. When you learn everyone is attending a $1,500 plate dinner, you max your credit cards out just to attend, but you will not change for the women of this country. When you learn that your sorority is having an affair, you dump your children off with the first babysitter you can find so you can attend the affair, but you will not change for the women of this country. When you learn only the fashionable people live on such and such a street, you press your husband to work 2 jobs so you can move, but you will not change for the women of this country. When you learn from the magazines eating grapefruits help women lose weight, you invest all your money in citrus commodities, but you will not change for the women of this country. When television told you that Luke and Laura were getting married, you went out and charged a widescreen TV so you could see the event, but you will not change for the women of this country. When you learn Europe has a new cosmetic to get rid of crow feet, you lay your money down, but you will not change for the women of this country. When a man says you look good, 5 minutes later, you have your son calling him daddy, but you will not change for the women of this country. To solve the problem in life, you must change. And to solve the problems of women, you must change. Thinking about change is not change. Wanting to change is not change. Planning to change is not change. Women must change. Change is not changing you until you have changed. A quote by Dr. Creflo Dollar, 1994. Now ask yourself, why will you not change for the women of this country? Why will you walk past a woman in distress and pretend that you are better than she? Why will you shop across town rather than go to the shop owned by a female? Why will you not teach your son not to misbehave sexually with teenage girls? Why will you not confront the men in your family about the use of prostitutes? Please don't tell me you don't know that they use prostitutes. Now, I want you to adjust to the thought of changing. I want you to understand changing is not a problem if you accept you want to change. When a person makes a decision that the consequences that will result from his or her changing meets a basic need, change is no longer difficult. We repeat that. When a person makes a decision that the consequences that will result from his or her changing meets a basic need, change is no longer difficult, and that person will change. If you want to continue to breathe, you will stop smoking. If you want to continue to live in good health, you will do something about your weight. You may not want to change, and change can be unpleasant, but when you see how the benefit of change will transform your circumstances, then you will change. The statement, that which can be foreseen can be prevented, is the foundation for the preparation of war. It is also the foundation for the preparation of change. In order to be successful at war, one must speculate on the possibilities, have the foresight to prepare for the unexpected, then rehearse to become stronger. You must anticipate your opponent, and in this case, women must anticipate what men will do to harm them, such as being kidnapped from a bar and taken to a field and being murdered. You must also understand that men are our adversaries, regardless of the fact that you love your brother, your uncle, your cousin, your grandfather. They are still our adversaries. All you have to do is look at the way that they vote. All you have to do is look at the laws that they have against us. There are more laws on the books regulating the behavior of women than there are men. They want to regulate the use of our bodies, and they also want to control the use of our minds. Now, I want you to consider this quote from Pastor T.D. Jakes. This was also made, this is again a quote from Dr. T.D. Jakes. If you do what you have always done, you will always be what you have always been. Listen again. If you do what you have always done, you will always be what you have always been. In other words, to become what you have never been, you must change. When change stops, an organism dies. The world is constantly telling you you can't do it. And if you do it, you can't do it without assistance. But you can change, and change can be accomplished without assistance. The most important component of change are commitment, resolve, declaration, self-control, restraint, fortitude, resilience, and response. Let me repeat it. The most important components of change are commitment, resolve, declaration, self-control, restraint, fortitude, resilience, and response. I'm going to provide you with a definition of these terms. Commitment is an act of committing to a change or trust, an agreement or pledge accomplished in the future. The state or an instance of being obligated or emotionally impelled. Declaration is an announcement, the first pleading of a common law act, a statement made by a party to a legal transaction, usually not under oath, something that is declared. The word response, something constituting a reply or reaction, the activity or inhibition of previous activities of an organism or any of the parts resulting from stimulation. The word resolve, to deal with successfully, to find an answer, to make clear or understandable, to reach a firm decision about, to declare or decide. Word fortitude, strength of the mind that enables a person to encounter danger or bear pain or adversity with courage, staying power. Self-control is defined as a restraint exercised over one's own impulses or emotion or desires. Strength is the control over the expression of one's emotion or device that restricts movement. Resilience is the capability of withstanding a shock without permanent deformation or rupture, tending to recover from or adjust easily to misfortune or change. From the words I just read, I gather you realize change is a battle. You are at war with yourself. Now who's going to win, the child inside or the adult? All of the words I define describe the characteristics of a soldier. Commitment, resolve, declaration, self-control, restraint, fortitude, resilience, and response are characteristics of men at war. Remember I said earlier that you can learn from other people how they solve their problems by reading. You can truly learn from people who have fought the greatest battles within themselves and others. If you want to understand mental fighting, I have some authors I can suggest that you read. Years ago, I read several books that changed my life. The books had a profound effect on my life. I thought I was tough. I hardened after reading these authors. I was reading all of James Baldwin at the time. I had purchased every book Mr. Baldwin had written, and I was rereading him when I discovered Samuel Greenlee. I put James Baldwin down and I read the book A Spook That Sat Beside the Door. The substance of the book reminded me of a book written by Franz Kafka, a German Jew. Both these men stretched their readers' imagination and willpower. Kafka did not live to see his Germany destroyed. His life demonstrated that regardless as to what is planned for you by your parents, one's will and identity struggle to be let out. When you read Kafka, you must read him as a person being reborn again and again. That very same year that I read Greenlee, I read two books by the black psychiatrist Frantz Fanon. His books were The Wretched of the Earth and Black Face, White Mind. After that, I read everything I could find written by Dr. Alvin Francis Toussaint. He has produced some interesting work on raising black children in this hateful environment. I also read Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. She wrote The Cress Theory of Color Confrontation. These authors are worth reading. If you do nothing else, go to YouTube and listen to Dr. Welsing speak. Look at her manner, her poise, and her speaking structure, and look at her eye contact. Look at her clothes and look at her hair. She is happy with herself. As you watch her speak, you will see her will and confidence being expressed. She makes no excuse for herself, and neither does she ask permission to be here. I am going to pause for a second to take a short break while you listen to information regarding willpower and encouragement. It is all a matter of learning new behaviors. And please remember, it is easier to build strong minds than to repair injured people. What I said is a modification of a quote by Frederick Douglass. He said, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." Now for my break.
Most aspiring individuals end up missing a huge amount of opportunities due to the lack of training and tools that would allow you to overcome psychological barriers, limiting beliefs, fears, and lack of creativity that you could potentially face during your journey as a successful woman. This lack of proper guidance manifests itself in lowered performance and productivity and failure to unleash your full potential and show the world what you can truly do.
You have 3 choices. You can sit on your couch and do nothing. You can participate sometime hardly doing anything. Or you can step into the future that you designed. The decision is yours. What are you waiting for? You either stand up for yourself with the chance of winning or failing, or grow old, mean, bitter, and hateful, driving your children to run from home or move to another state because of your archaic ideas. Time is running out. What are you going to do?
If you have reached a point where you are stuck, having a sense of tiredness coming from seeing all of your dreams and visions of success get obscured with the lack of experience, guidance, and knowledge necessary for success, learning from women of courage may be the most important thing you've read this year. Living a passionate life in a hectic and busy 21st century is getting increasingly harder. Women of Courage series will provide you with all the inspiration, courage, and role model you need to get inspired and take your life in your hands and start living as bravely, as passionate as you deserve. Most aspiring individuals end up missing a huge amount of opportunities due to the lack of training and tools that would allow you to overcome psychological barriers, limiting beliefs, fears, and lack of creativity that you could potentially face during your journey as a successful woman. This lack of proper guidance manifests itself in lowered performance and productivity and failure to unleash your full potential and show the world what you can truly do. If you lack the attitude and psychology, proper resources, or vision to make your dreams a reality, combined with dissatisfaction with the execution of your plans, but you remain firmly dedicated to making your ambitions a reality, you will certainly derive the most benefit from the incredible Women of Courage series. If you are serious about taking your life to a whole new level and enjoying the privileges of creativity, fearlessness, and success that all the brave women who have changed the world are equipped with, you are in the right place. Don't leave your future to chance. Get a new sense of strength, inspiration, and courage with Women of Courage series. You'll be so glad you did, guaranteed. Achieve what you're after.
Why you should read Women of Courage. The book will inspire you to begin your life again. Read how females took courage to live exemplary lives, even though most were from humble backgrounds. The books teach the importance of courage in achieving the great things of life. The books motivate you to look beyond those things you think you couldn't do. The books give you the insight into your innate abilities that your fears have suppressed. There is no greater feeling than creating a new you.
Now that you have seen the amazing feats you can record by picking up a copy of Women of Courage, it's time for exploits. It's time for you to overcome obstacles such as lack of education or job. It's time to rid your mind of poisonous beliefs like women should only be seen and not heard. You must have realized by now that you need courage to support your dreams. You think you are disadvantaged because of the color of your skin? By the time you read the story of Rosa Parks in Women of Courage, you will see how you have been undermining yourself. By picking up a copy of this book, you will learn about the challenges, limitations, and rejections faced by these women as well as their coping mechanisms. In order to help you maximize the book, it comes with a workbook where you can keep track of your daily progress. So what are you waiting for? Go right ahead and purchase the series for yourself and every woman around you.
Why are only a few women in history books? Why are women left out of leadership positions? Why are 21st century women struggling with the same issues that 20th century women fought against? The series Women of Courage gives answers to these questions. Millions of women all over the world are living in fear, unhappy, and unfulfilled, wishing they could do more with their lives. If you are one of these women, fearful and unhappy, take the bold step and purchase the series Women of Courage. Read and learn how other women met these challenges and succeed in living fulfilling lives. Read the series Women of Courage and learn how you can change your life forever. Women of Courage is an inspirational book that seeks to tell the stories of strong women who have persevered, even when those threatened by a woman's strength have stood in the way. It's a book for all women, a book to help more of us stand up and say, it's about time. It's a book for you. Get your copy from touchedbythelight.us.
We live in a society that has created an impression that a woman is limited in what she can do. The society lets you see yourself as a weaker human who should not aspire to greater things. Most of us grew up with that mentality and thus turned out to be unambitious. Good news is there are a lot of women out there just like you who have turned their lives around dramatically. Women like Mother Teresa, Lucy Burns, and Rosa Parks. There's one underlying factor common to all these women: courage. They were courageous in the face of societal intimidation. They were courageous enough to move against societal norms that were unacceptable to them. They were courageous when it mattered, most thus writing their standards in the sands of time. Purchase the Women of Courage series today at http://touchedbythelight.us or mail a check to P.O. Box 7267, Ann Arbor, Michigan 48107. Are you sick and tired of being you? Do you want another life, a second chance? Then it's time to change. It's time for you to find out who you are. It's time for you to stand up for yourself. It's time for you to think for yourself. It's time to rid your mind of poisonous beliefs like women should only be seen and not heard. It's time for you to learn how other women accomplished their goals. For more information regarding Women of Courage and to be among the countless women learning to manage the challenges, limitations, and rejections of life, go to https://touchedbythelight.us.
I have designed an exercise where you can visualize change. I want you to imagine you are a pie divided into 8 equal parts, and each part is equally important. The 8 parts are labeled with the words we just finished defining: commitment, resolve, declaration, self-control, restraint, fortitude, resilience, and response. Now, your goal is not to let anyone take a slice of your pie. In order to accomplish this task, you will have to use all of your components at one time. This is change. You must first make a commitment to yourself, then you must make a resolution to yourself, then you must make a declaration. The declaration is not made to your girlfriend on your lunch hour. The declaration is made to yourself in the closet of your mind. You repeat this declaration to yourself out loud in the car, while washing dishes alone, or while bathing. Over and over again, you make this declaration to yourself until it becomes second nature, until you hear yourself speaking to yourself. The voice inside will be your response to what you're telling yourself. This is the mechanics of change. As you continue to talk to yourself, you will develop resolve. A stillness will come over you. Now faith is setting in, and you will be developing fortitude. You will be becoming stronger. What your girlfriend says or laughs about will not bother you. What the world says or forecasts will not bother you, because now you are believing in yourself. You are developing faith in yourself. No one can tell you what you can and cannot do. You are no longer giving up your will to the world. Thereafter, it is a matter of developing self-control, restraint, and resiliency. Once these 3 qualities are developed, you will become resilient and begin making correct responses for yourself. This is change. In order to accomplish the change, please review this list until you can picture the pie in your mind and you can hear yourself repeating the definition. Remember, when you try to change, something or someone will always come along to try and weaken your resolve. This is why it is so important that you choose your friends well. If you surround yourself with people who are weak, you will be fed a daily dose of weakness. These people will never tell you what you are able to do, nor will they ever be able to tell you how to go about doing what you want to do. Be careful of the person that always says to you, everybody is doing it, because that is a lie. Okay, now you have to build your pie in your mind. Your pie has 8 equal slices. The slices are labeled commitment, declaration, response, resolve, fortitude, self-control, restraint, and resilience. Picture these labels on each slice of pie. Is your pie an 8-inch pie or a 12-inch pie? Does your pie have legs? Are the legs muscular? Are they wearing shoes? What type of shoes are your pie wearing? You want your pie to have definition and color, to be characteristic and charming. Are you wearing high heel shoes or running shoes? Are the fists balled up or unclenched? Now imagine you're sitting on a counter in the kitchen with your legs crossed, and someone comes along and tries to take a slice of your pie. Now, whatever slice he or she reaches for, you must use the 7 other slices to keep your pie intact. Imagine the person that comes along, or the hand that reaches for your slice of pie, is the thing you are going to change or accomplish. The person that reaches for a slice of your pie is your nemesis. The mother who told you she hated you. The mother who told you you ruined her life when she had you. The teacher who said you would never amount to anything. What slice of pie will you use to repel their statement or criticism? Maybe the hand that is reaching for your pie is the friend who has to sit down and eat a bag of potato chips and drink a pop in front of you after you told her you were dieting. What slice of pie will you use to repel your friend's behavior? Also, your husband could be reaching for a slice of your pie when he calls you stupid and tells you that no man will want you if you leave him. What slice of pie will you use to repel his message? Now you got the picture of what your pie has got to do? This, every great general in history fought their battles in their minds and on paper before they fought the battle on the battlefield. Imagining is called preparation and rehearsal. The general calculates the various responses that might be available to him and prepares for contingencies. He also calculates the various responses his opponent would make and prepares to repel each response. Most battles are won because the victor properly prepared for battle. You are weak because you were not trained to be strong. If you continue to imagine yourself weak, you will remain weak and accomplish nothing in your life. If you begin imagining yourself strong, you will become stronger and you will accomplish much in your life. Remember this, whatever you think, keep it to yourself. 8 labels on your pie slices are the qualities a woman uses when she loses her home, when the child support is not paid. These are the quality a woman uses when she has to start all over again because her husband left her for another woman, after she learned he was committing adultery for the last 5 years, and she did not know he was siphoning money and putting it into another bank account while she was being frugal. These are the qualities that you use when you are on the street with your children. These are the qualities you use when your children begin using drugs or become alcoholics because they no longer live in the house they grew up in, or they no longer live around their friends. These are the qualities you use to protect your children when they grow up to hate themselves because they are poor. These are the qualities you use when your children have lost their home, they have lost their friends, and they have lost their father, and they blame you. These are the qualities you use when you find out your best girlfriend has been sleeping with your husband for years and everyone knew about it but you. These are the qualities a woman uses when her mother tells her, I told you so. These are the qualities you use to fight back. Here is an announcement regarding reading. Listen closely. Take your time and listen to what is being said to you regarding reading. This can change your life. Reading can change your life.
Reading will change your life. If you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, then you need to change. You should pick up a book because therein lies the knowledge and change. The key to life is change. If you want a good life, then you must be capable and willing to change. If I ask you, do you want people to like you, or do you want a better job, you will probably say yes. If you do say yes to these questions and you strive for the results, then you must be capable of change. For it is a given fact that if you change the way you think, you will change your life. Take the young man who just graduated from high school. He has a job at McDonald's. His friends tell him working at McDonald's is a do-nothing job. After listening to his friends for a while, he accepts his friends' appraisal of his job and he quits. Finding himself idle, he begins to hang out on the street corner. Finally, one of his buddies comes up with a bright idea to rob a liquor store. He follows and robs the store the next day. Soon he is arrested and charged with armed robbery and murder. He is convicted and off he goes to prison. The store owner was killed. He had no idea his friend was carrying a gun. Our thoughts and emotions are shaped by the way we think, and the way we think is framed by the information we receive from others. A good filtering process is necessary to keep one's thinking healthy. The young man above did not use his filtering process, so his thinking was shaped by negativity, and he met with poor results. We must consider the information we receive from others. One way of balancing the information we receive from others is reading. Reading opens the door to knowledge. Knowledge opens the door to the imagination, and imagination opens the doors to a better life. Change your life for the better and begin reading. Men and women cannot live better without changing the circumstances of their life. And you cannot change the circumstances of your life without new and reliable information. Reading is your way to better circumstances. Your mood will change with reading. Hope will abound in your spirit when you read. A better life will seem possible with reading. Take time for yourself and read. Life is too short for you to let life pass you by because you lack the knowledge that will come from reading. There is one change you must accept that you have to make in life if you truly want to survive as a human being, and that change is reading. Knowledge comes from reading. Understanding comes from reading. Tolerance and forbearance comes from reading. If you do not read, you have effectively isolated yourself from every other human being on this planet. So today, you should decide to make a change. Either you need to learn to read, or once you learn to read, you need to continue to read. And if you already know how to read, you need to pick up a book written by your fellow man and find out what this person is thinking. Reading a book is the biggest change you will ever make in your life. One word or one experience from a book can spark an idea that can lead to wealth and happiness. Take time out of your busy day and read a book. Make one of the books you read be the Holy Bible. Reading is the gateway to a new life. A better life awaits you. Are you working a crappy job? Do you hate your boss and wish he could use some of the sick time he has accrued? Well, you can change your situation. All you have to do is learn to read. That's right. You can change your life drastically if you learn to read. There's nothing like reading. Reading will affect your imagination, providing good ideas for good conversation. Reading will make you the master. It will put you at the helm. Reading is the heart of all discovery, the heart of a new life, and the heart of changing your circumstances. Reading is the most important human activity anyone can engage in. Reading allows one to explore the ocean floor, see into the sky, and learn what is inside our bodies. Reading can teach a man how to build a home or how to save a person's life if that person is choking. Reading opens the door to a new life if you will just start with one book. Pick up a book and read today and see if your future is not brighter tomorrow. Reading opens the door to knowledge. Knowledge opens the door to the imagination, and imagination opens the door to a better life. Change your life for the better and begin reading. Men and women cannot live better without changing the circumstances of their life. And they cannot change the circumstances of their lives without new and reliable information. Reading is your path to new and reliable information. Your mood will change with reading. Hope will abound in your spirit when you're reading. A better life will seem possible with reading. Take time for yourself and read. Life is too short for you to let life pass you by because you lack the knowledge that will come from reading. There is one change you must accept that you have to make in life if you truly want to survive as a human being, and that change is reading. Knowledge comes from reading. Understanding comes from reading. Tolerance and forbearance comes from reading. If you do not read, you have effectively isolated yourself from every other human being on this planet. So today, you should decide to make a change. Either you need to learn to read, or once you learn to read, you need to continue to read. And if you already know how to read, you need to pick up a book written by your fellow man and find out what this person is thinking. Reading a book is the biggest change you will ever make in your life. One word or one experience from a book can spark an idea that can lead to wealth and happiness. Take time out of your busy day and read a book. What your family and this country needs is leadership. There are books on leadership at your local library. There are books at the local library that will tell you how other people met the challenge of leadership, met the challenges of marriage, met the challenges of finding a new job, training for a new job. All you have to do is read, and you will have this information available to you. You can learn how to be a plumber by reading a book. You can learn almost any trade by reading a book. Chase the fear out of your life. Men and women cannot live better without changing the circumstances of their life, and you cannot change the circumstances of your life without new and reliable information. Reading is your way to better circumstances. Your mood will change with reading. Hope will abound in your spirit when you read. A better life will seem possible with reading. Take time for yourself and read. Life is too short for you to let life pass you by because you lack the knowledge that will come from reading. The key to life is change. If you want a good life, then you must be capable and willing to change. If I ask you, do you want people to like you or do you want a better job? You will probably say yes. If you do say yes to these questions and you strive for the results, then you must be capable of change. For it is a given fact that if you change the way you think, you will change your life. There is one change you must accept that you have to make in life if you truly want to survive as a human being, and that change is reading. Even if you are 65 years old, you need to learn to read. Take a deep breath, walk into a library, and ask a librarian where you go to learn to read. It takes courage to live. It takes tenacity to live, and it takes bravery to live. You possess all three of these qualities, so all you have to do now is learn to read so you can express these qualities to the world. As you learn to read, children will follow in your footsteps, and they will learn to read. As you demonstrate bravery, so shall your grandchildren demonstrate bravery. Your grandchildren will remember you as the 65-year-old who took time to learn to read. While I live, I hope.
There is a point in your life where you stop being a child and take responsibility for yourself and others. This is that day. You have decided. You have made the decision to change. You are sick and tired of the person you are, and you want to become someone new. Now what do? Well, the first decision you make is to clean your house. Get rid of all the clutter. Don't talk. Don't try to explain anything to anyone. Do not try and explain to anyone why you're doing what you're doing. Just clean. You can spend your entire life trying to justify why you're doing what you're doing. Now just clean your house. I mean, really clean it. Get rid of all the debris, old letters, old clothes, shoes you don't like, clothes you haven't worn in 10 years. Why are you holding on to these old clothes? Don't you think you can buy more clothes? What are you afraid of in the future? That is right. Throw away that coat you hate to wear. Yes, that's the coat you purchased because you thought it was a good buy. Keep nothing from the past that brings you down. Nothing from the past that houses old memories that make you feel bad inside. This is going to be difficult. Throwing away objects from the past is difficult because people form attachments to objects. Robert has to go. Robert left you. His behavior told you he did not love you, so forget Robert. Stop rehashing what you should have done or could have done to get him to stay. There may not have been anything that you could have done to get Robert to stay because you do not know Robert's objective for starting a relationship with you in the first place. You assumed that when he started up with you, he had the same intentions you had to begin and maintain a healthy relationship with another person that might lead to marriage. You made that assumption, yet you do not know if it is true. Actually, Robert may have been between women. He may not have had any intentions of marrying anyone. He was just out for a little fun and you warmed his bed for 9 months. You feel bad because you do not know why he left. Well, stop feeling bad because you will never know why he left. People just leave. You got it? That's correct. People lie. Now what do you do about it? Find a person you can live with that lifts your spirit. Robert is no longer a part of your life. He is a part of your past and he needs to stay there. Robert smiled and lied and said what he had to say to get what he wanted to get, and now he's gone. What you have to do is learn to look for clues in a person's intentions. Learn to be a better detective and a judger of people. You want to know about the next man's credit report. You don't want to be helping anyone pay their bills. Remember the woman who married a man just so he could help her pay off her student loans, and once her loans were paid off, she divorced him? Remember the woman from Texas who dated her boss until he left his wife? Then she married him and later killed him for his money? Put Robert in the category of these two women and move on. Now back to the first step. Clean the area around you. You want to remove all the clutter in your living space. When you look at the space around you, you want it to be or bring you happiness or pleasure, or the thoughts will be good thoughts. You do not want anything around you to remind you of your old self. That includes friends, if they keep talking to you about your past. If you have a girlfriend or a friend and the first thing out of their mouth is, "Girl, do you remember so-and-so?" You want to get rid of these people and keep them on a short leash. You do not need a friend that keeps reminding you of things that are unpleasant. You need a friend who will carry or walk with you into the future. Now, once your living space is clean, you need to tell yourself it's going to remain this way. I mean, clean the bathroom, the bedroom, the kitchen, the attic, the basement. I want all the debris from the past removed from your home. Everywhere, remove objects from the past that elicit bad emotions. I will not live with anything that makes me unhappy. That's what you need to say to yourself. Now go to your car and clean your car. I mean, really clean it so when you sit in your car, your body feels good. See, you not only have to tell yourself that you're important, you have to demonstrate to yourself you are important. So you deserve to live in a nice, clean, pleasant environment. Now, at this point, your house or your apartment should be clean. Your clothes should be clean and your car should be clean. Now you're on your way to being a new you. Do not go out and buy a bunch of new clothes. Save your money. Later on, your savings will become extremely important. This is your backup to protect yourself in case something bad happens. Remember the old saying, look before you leap. This time you will take a longer look at the next Robert or the next best friend or the next best coworker before you leap. I have a reason for telling you to save your money. What happens if you date a stalker? Okay? And he refuses to leave you alone. Suppose you have to move. Where are you going to get the money to move? Don't forget to clean under your bed, on top of the refrigerator, and under and behind the stove. Now, the next step is the self-evaluation of your body. That is correct. You cannot move forward unless you deal with your physical image. Be honest. Do you hate your hair? Do you hate your shoe size? Whatever you hate or dislike about yourself, write it down on a sheet of paper. Make a list of your likes and your dislikes about your physical appearance. Not behavior, just your physical appearance. Believe it or not, once you bring your thoughts out into the open, you can see better. This exercise will help you determine if your expectations are realistic. You may not be aware that your thinking is faulty, and your faulty thinking may be in part the reason why you're unhappy. Third, make a list of people you like and dislike. That's right, people who you like and dislike. You are going to analyze your thinking. One thing this exercise is going to bring out in you, you will see the people that you envy, hate, or are jealous of. That is correct. You are jealous and envious of other people, and you are unhappy because of it. You can make people around you unhappy, meaning your children and your husband. This exercise is a self-examination of yourself. Okay, you have two lists. A list of what you like and do not like about your physical appearance. And you have another list of people you like and dislike. Now, next to each item, write down what you can do about it. Okay, you dislike your shoe size. What can you do about it? Nothing. I know of no operation you can have to reduce the size of your feet. Now, next to that, write down what you can actually going to do about this problem. We'll have two columns. First, what you dislike, what you can do about the problem, and what you think you're actually going to do about the problem. I mean, write a full-blown essay about your physical appearance and what you're willing to do about it and what you're not willing to do about it and what you do not like about yourself. One action that may result from this exercise is you may learn to accept some of your physical characteristics. You may make peace with yourself that your skin will never be porcelain. You will never look like Elizabeth Taylor. You can't saw your toes off so your feet will be smaller. The goal here is for you to get some peace with yourself, to learn whether or not you have realistic expectations for yourself. Learn why you envy and hate people in your life. Just be honest. You hate Alice because all the men at the club like Alice. No one just walks up and buys you a drink. Alice's life seems to be magical. Everyone likes her. She has a good job and has a house and everything. More people like Alice than you. You would like to smash her in the face. Some things we desire may not be possible, and to live a good life, we may just have to accept that and go on. You will never have small feet like Dorothy, so you might as well go on with your life. You will never have natural blonde hair because it is genetically impossible. Your ancestors did not have blonde hair. Stop being envious of others. In other words, stop looking in someone else's garden. You need to pay attention to your garden. Do you remember King Ahab, who wanted another man's garden? He and his wife killed Nabal because Nabal would not sell his garden. Because of this sin, God destroyed the entire male line of King Ahab. Not one of his descendants are alive on earth today because of King Ahab's jealousy. King Ahab had more than Nabal, yet King Ahab was not satisfied. He had to possess another man's garden. Also, you need to mind your own business and stop watching Matthew and Joyce talking at work. It is none of your business what they are discussing or doing. Maybe Joyce talks to Matthew because he's a good listener and she's confident that he'll keep his mouth closed and not tell her business. She has problems at home, but he reassures her that things will work out. She looks forward to coming to work because Matthew is there. Maybe Matthew listens to Joyce because he feels if someone had listened to his mother would not have committed suicide. You do not know what is motivating other people around you. But one thing is for certain, when you spend so much time watching their relationship, you do not have time for your own. Maybe that's why you can't find your husband. In fact, you need to realize the people you envy probably care nothing about you. In fact, they may not even know your name. In fact, the woman at work probably doesn't know you exist. She is so busy taking care of her family and living her life to be concerned with who you are or what you're doing. So pay attention to your life and leave other people alone. In fact, your husband might have divorced you because he was tired of you always paying attention to what other people were doing, because you became obsessed with prying into other lives instead of developing your own. Many times if you start the conversation with your husband by saying, you know, Alice's husband does so and so, or Mary's husband just got a raise, or Brenda's husband just bought a new truck and he took her to the Bahamas for her birthday. You really need to start thinking about the thoughts that are going through your mind. Just because you think it does not make that thought true. It is easy to point your finger outwardly rather than face yourself. It may make you feel better talking about someone else or pointing your finger at someone else's behavior. But what about you? If you are sick and tired of being you, then you need to change, and the first change you need to make is to be honest with yourself. There is a point in life where you stop being a child and you take responsibility for yourself and others. Grow up. Life is not a fantasy. Spend time developing yourself, and just maybe you will find someone to live your life with and have children who will adore you rather than despise your existence because you were too busy spying in someone else's garden. Thank you for listening to Women of Courage, and have a great day.